Hey guys, David Pingree. We're here with another garage build project. This is our 2019 RM-Z450, and I'm excited about this thing. Last year, this bike underwhelmed a little bit in stock trim, but the potential is really there still. And we kind of learned what we need to do to make this thing breathe fire, and we kind of went back to some of that stuff. So we went to Pro Circuit on it to get the horsepower up. High compression piston, their exhaust system, and some mapping. And this thing is right in the game as fast as any motorcycle. It's all you want for horsepower with that simple change. We also removed the air filter cage with a two-stroke cage. Do that at your own risk. Obviously, it is a backfire screen, but it does allow it to breathe better. Throw in some VP fuel for even more horsepower. Again, that's not necessary. With this high compression piston, we can still run pump, but it is an option. We also had them get into the suspension. We've got Bones and the Pro Circuit crew out here today with us. We're going to run through a couple settings on the fork end shock. Because this is that new Showa suspension, there's definitely not the testing hours and development hours that the old setup had. It's a spring fork, which is great, but that doesn't matter if the setup isn't right. So a lot of it is just comes down to them spending the time getting these things figured out for different speeds, different weights, different tracks. So we're going to work on some of that today and see if we can really get this stuff dialed in. ODI helped out with bars and grips. I'm anxious to try these. I was a big fan of these back in my race team days, really liked them. It's a lot of works connection parts and pieces on here as well. They're Pro Pegs. We've got the radiator guards, the start device, so a lot of the blue parts and pieces on here, the caps, clutch perch and all that, all works connection. We really like that stuff. Those guys do an awesome job. Polisport provided all the plastic. I like going to an all yellow theme. To me, I don't care for the whites and blacks in a bike that's supposed to be another color. So we go all yellow, and then factory backing guys just crushed this build. Designed this whole graphic setup for us. I think they did a really nice job. It looks sharp. Also want to thank Lightspeed. They sent us a bunch of carbon, this tank cover, some different parts and pieces all around this that you'll see. And that stuff always fits nice. It looks great. Willie over there at Lightspeed does an awesome job. So if you're looking for some carbon, check those guys out. Dunlop tires, we tried to keep it relatively within a budget. So these are just stock wheels. We got some stickers that the factory backing guys made us to kind of give the wheel a little bit of sparkle, if you will. But it looks good. Supersprox chain and sprocket. And we got a recluse clutch system on this, which does help when you start building a little more power. It's nice to have stiffer springs and a little bit better clutch system. So we do have that going for us. And the rest of it, like I said, those were the big things that we know from last year that we had to do to make this thing work right. So we'll go get it on the track. We'll do some testing with Bones and get back to you here at the end of the day with how this thing worked out. Is this new stuff or is this the stuff that was on it? All right, guys, we got some time on our Suzuki, and just as I assumed, we did the same things to the engine we did last year, and it's great again. I mean, this thing brings it right in to be competitive with any other manufacturer in terms of engine performance, horsepower numbers, high compression piston, Pro Circuit exhaust, and mapping. Those guys have this thing dialed. It's a really effective engine. It's a fun, kind of playful engine anyway. In stock trim, it's just a little anemic, and this fixes all that. So they have a really good setup for the motor, and it's relatively inexpensive. It's not like you're getting in doing cams and valves and all that stuff that's also going to change your reliability or increase your service intervals. This is something you can throw in and run all year long. So the suspension was awesome. A little firm at first. We had to work through a few things. Bones tried a couple different shocks. I had to go to a different shock spring, a little bit lighter for me. Couldn't get the sag numbers right initially, but we sorted it out, and I got this thing working great. Really, really happy with it. Like I said, this new Showa setup hasn't made its way to any race teams yet because it's just still pretty new. It's kind of road racing technology. It operates a little bit differently internally. And so it's taken some time to just get it figured out and know kind of what to do when you have certain conditions or certain complaints from riders. And the Pro Circuit guys are really getting it figured out. Like I said, they brought out an additional shock today. We just did some changes on the forks from what they'd already set up. We kind of knew those were going to be close, and we made some changes on the shock that we really liked. Really got it to track out of turns, where before it kind of had a harsh feeling when we started, and we got it to just be super nice, straight, tracks, gets the wheel on the ground and gets traction. So big thank you to Bones and the Pro Circuit guys for coming out. It helps me, but I think it also helps them because now they've got a really good base setting on this thing. If you're looking to get your Suzuki handling right, these guys know what they're doing. Another thing on the handling side I didn't mention in the intro I want to talk about is we've got some FCP engine mounts. And I've been asked before by several people, you know, these titanium, these cool little engine mount parts, why are none of those available to the public? And frankly, I said it's difficult for them to test them, get them into production and sell them before they become obsolete. You know, bikes continue to change each year. The mounts change every year. But as you can see up close, there's titanium front mount on this. It's an aluminum rear mount, but it's got material taken out of it, so it's much thinner than what you have stock. And it gives it a little bit more of a flex characteristic that lets this bike really drop into turns easier, not be as rigid when you're accelerating out of turns. And it's difficult to pinpoint that one thing because we're making a lot of changes today, but I will tell you that I think that it does make a difference. It gives it a softer characteristic where you want it. And they look trick. It comes with a titanium front bolt that goes through there, and the titanium on the front's like multicolored, really cool looking stuff. So even if you're just looking for some style points, that's the way to go. Check them out, FCP engine mounts. Also, you know, great stuff on the Dunlop tires. Those are a go-to for us. I love all the Works Connection stuff. I've got the oil filter cover and rear brake guard, some different things on here, skid plate on here that sometimes we don't run, but we kind of loaded it up with Works Connection stuff on this. And light speed, again, love the way all that stuff looks. Really like these ODI grips. You know, they're kind of Smurf-tastic, these blue ones. We went with something different, kind of go with the blue theme. But it's a really cool, they have a really soft material. You know, the durometer readings of it are really soft. Anyway, great stuff. Thank you to ODI. I'm actually really digging the bars as well. Everything on this thing, to me, came out great, looks great. So big thank you to factory backing, Pro Circuit, the companies that were heavily involved. Check out my company, Paleo Ranch, if you're looking for a protein bar or beef jerky or bacon jerky. Best stuff out there. PaleoRanch.com. Check those out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next garage build.